This is likely to compel the UK to look to other markets around the globe. What then is the impact of Brexit on Africa, a continent with a market share of over $3 trillion? There's no doubt that the modern day scramble for Africa will become greater with the UK, the EU, and America competing aggressively to outsmart China, which is already in a dominant post in Africa.
The African continent is facing significant challenges for the future, from decarbonising its economy to the digital transformation, promoting good governance to migration. The European Parliament thinks that by working together, both the EU and Africa will be stronger.
La priorité, c'est le développement humain. On a un défi en tant qu'Européens, mais aussi les Africains. Ils ont ce défi de la transition écologique et la transition digitale qu'il faut qu'on la fasse ensemble.
Parliament believes that these challenges present both continents with opportunities. European companies and Africa's rapidly growing markets will both benefit from European private investment. MEPs say a new partnership addressing healthcare, education and teacher training and the empowerment of girls and women should be a priority.
Au cœur de mon rapport, il y a la place de la jeunesse et les femmes, l'autonomisation des femmes, les questions de leur santé, l'entrepreneuriat féminin, leur éducation. C'est la force de la société africaine.
MEPs want the EU-Africa strategy to go further than just cooperation and build a lasting, mutually beneficial relationship. The future strategy should help support projects which boost climate adaptation like the Turkana wind farm, support the creation of Africa's continental free trade area, and help reduce the continent's dependence on imports.
All right, the scramble for the resources of Africa between Europe, America, and of course China will continue to increase, with China in a very tough and dominant position. Well, let's go back to our script. These Western nations have contributed in no small measures in aid to Africa. Sadly, very minimal investment in the continent. What are the opportunities for the United Kingdom in Africa? Is Africa prepared for capital inflow from Britain? Is Nigeria, the biggest market in Africa, prepared? What impact does the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement have on the global investment market? Is Africa an investment destination? Is Nigeria an investment destination? How can member states of the Commonwealth key to the long-standing diplomatic relations with the UK to drive investment into the country and into the continent? Or can Nigeria, with over 200 million people, be the economic powerhouse in Africa? Joining us on the program today is Azu Gozin. Azu is the author of Britain, EU, Post-Brexit, African Relations and Geopolitics. In 2016, Azu contested on the platform of CLP for the London Borough of Haringey-Enfield in the Greater London Assembly and Mayoral election in London. And also in London, joining us is Priscilla Inwipo. Priscilla is a British journalist joining us live from London. After this break, we'll be back and I'll have my guests on the show. Don't get away. The world has become more connected than ever before. Every continent, color, race, language, and religion, even government, move towards common goals. We now live in a global village. Here on this program, we'll bring you global issues to shape our world.
Government can do a lot with tax revenues collected for health and education.
The role of the European Union is to accompany a partner, that is Nigeria, in offering our lessons learned to see whether together we can improve that situation.
The emphasis on education, on vocational training, on the development of entrepreneurship is absolutely critical to its democracy.
The Nigerian government, we would ask them to follow up the investigations that we have had, the evidence that we have gathered, and ultimately we made a number of recommendations.
As we travel the world, we explore these issues of international and diplomatic relevance. Indeed, the global agenda that determine our national and common interests. With me, Tunde Alabi, live on the IT. All right, thank you for taking the time to join us on the program today. In the studio with me is Gozin Azu. Gozin Azu, he's the author of Britain-EU Post-Brexit African Relations and Geopolitics, is a politician in the United Kingdom, contested vie to represent the London Borough of Haringey-Neufeld in the Greater London Assembly and mayoral election in 2016. He's been involved in a lot of political activities, social economic activities in the United Kingdom, and recently launched this book, Britain, EU, Post-Brexit African Relations. Also, thank you for taking the time to join us on the program.
Thank you
and
very much,
also
for having me.
in London is Priscilla Iwipo. Priscilla Iwipo is a British journalist in the United Kingdom, planner trade in London. Priscilla, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on the program today. It's good to see you one more time, Priscilla.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Let me start with you. In page 132 of your book, you spoke about different dynamics involved in post-Brexit and how African can actually position itself to take advantage of the opportunities that Brexit may offer. But in your view, considering the ever conservative nature of Britain, do you think anything will change about its economic ties with Africa? Of course, they don't mind giving Africa aids, but in terms of empowering African countries and African people economically, socially, do you think they will ever change, notwithstanding Brexit?
Well, I believe that the present Conservative Party government led by Right Honourable Boris Johnson is willing and ready and prepared to pursue a new dynamic relationship with Africa, going by the fact that in the last 47 years, most relationship that has been engaged with Africa has been a kind of a tripartite arrangement, where part of it is directly with Britain, and some of them are roped around the EU foreign policy in terms of starting kind of a trade arrangement or engagement with African countries. And as such, Britain haven't got that leverage to exit the EU in this new world order. Be mindful of the fact that the world is evolving now. We have moved from a bipolar world order to a multipolar world order, where certain countries are pitching their strength and their positions in the global world politics and economy. And Britain haven't seen themselves in their point of exceptional concept, being people who cherish their identity, cherish their culture and their being and in global affairs, felt that what they joined 47 years ago as an economic community of mutual benefit in terms of financial outcome is now turning into what the European calls the European project, bringing the European nations into a political order where the membership of that integration begin to look towards a democratically political construct. And Britain felt this is going to eat the identity, the cultural, and the traditions of a British belief in the continent. And going by what Winston Churchill says, that we are with Europe, but we are not of Europe. So you feel that pain that going by that particular concept, the British people feel that they need to retrace back their history, they need to retrace back their power.
Having succeeded in doing that, will they now turn to their former colonies? Will they now turn to the Commonwealth? Will they now turn to Africa? Will they now turn to Nigeria, the biggest economy in Africa?
Well, of course, they will turn. They are already turning to Africa. They already, I mean, the government after the Brexit or pre the Brexit held one of the first summit, continental summit, with African nations, whereby they invited over 21 African head of states and big players in the African economy, from global, multinational and regional organizations to London. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson made it clear that Africa is one of the center point of their new foreign policy drive and global footprints. And so they see Africa as a horizon where they need to pitch their new trading post, even though they've lost so much in the last 47 years. Now the issue is about how strategic they are going to be in driving that new policy arrangement and new relationship with most of their colonial countries in Africa, knowing very well that China, Brazil, America,
India,
Russia have a very strategic interest in Africa also,
including
and
India.
Including India. And for Britain to come back now, after 40-something years, to want to compete with these big players who are already eating deep into African context is another big challenge.
Okay.
But I think they're going to go beyond AIDS to being able to identify, like what they have said. They've given African countries, most of the colonial African countries, most of the former British French countries, I don't want to use the word colonial word, but French countries, to have a free tariff export to Britain. So it depends on like what they did to Kenya and South Africa with the Kenyan tea export to UK, knowing very well that they have Netherlands there, which is the greatest competitors for Kenyan teas. If they don't give the Kenyan tea producers a good incentive, most of the teas and flour, most of the flowers that comes from Kenya will end up in Netherlands. And it ends up the fact that it brings up the fact that if the British flour market wants flour in excess numbers in Britain, they still now have to depend in Netherlands, getting most of those flour from Netherlands.
And they will not want to do that.
They don't want to do that.
All right.
So they have to give Kenyan government a lot of incentives and their farmers and their producers a lot of incentives in order to divert most of the flour export that goes to Netherlands
to Britain.
To Britain.
All right. Let me turn to Priscilla in London. Priscilla, I mean, you've been following and monitoring Brexit and its possible impact on the world generally with specific interest on Africa. Do you think Britain would increase its investment in Africa? It's no story that Britain's investment in Nigeria has almost gone down to 0.001%. Do you think anything will change?
Well, I as to whether or not it will change, it's left to be seen. Naturally, Britain wants to be able to trade with just about anybody that is ready to trade with them right now. I think it's important to understand that, you know, the UK is the sixth largest economy on the face of the planet, for instance. In 2019, their export generated 689 billion. They are mostly a service industry, and that generates over 70% of their GDP. So the question as to whether or not they will come to Africa, they have already been coming to Africa. I think the problem that we have at the moment is that, you know, they've always come to Africa as the colonial masters. They've never sort of come, with a sort of a fair agreement, if I may say that. And so coming to Africa now, there are new players in Africa. Africa is no longer just sitting there and awaiting for Britain, former colonial masters, to show up. Africa is now extremely busy. They're being courted by just about everybody, as has been mentioned already. But the Chinese have a huge stake in Africa at the moment, and they've been doing business for some time. And so it means that in order for the UK to come back to be able to do business in Africa, there needs to be some changes. There are some changes on the planet currently. We know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement has just been signed, and that is in place. So, the question is Africa prepared and ready to take advantage of the huge opportunity that Brexit offers them? Are they also prepared to take advantage of the opportunity that the Africa Free Trade Agreement also offers? And I think it's their ability to be able to do that that will determine what the outcome will be. But of course, the UK are very much looking at Africa, looking at various countries in Africa and wanting to trade with them for sure. Because, you know, as it stands now, once upon a time, they were part of a huge market, a 500 million market, but now they are all of 66 million market. And so they need to look at how they're going to be able to keep that up. And so the months ahead are going to be interesting to watch. But yes, they will be turning to Africa, they'll be turning to different parts of Africa, because, you know, when you think about it, there are different aspects of their economy. You know, there is the financial aspect. They were doing extremely well as members of the EU with their financial aspect. They were selling more, doing better here in the UK than, you know, other parts of the EU. In that aspect. Then there is the agricultural aspect. There is the, you know, as I've mentioned already, their exports. All of those aspects needs to be looked at, and, you know, it needs to be what markets are going to be able to. Then they've got to tailor that to the respective markets where they can do well. And I think Africa should prepare themselves and to be able to offer, because right now they are the bride that everybody's seeking, you know, wanting to marry. So it's an opportunity. So I hope they can take advantage.
As an opportunity for Africa, the bride that everybody wants to marry. Nigeria appears to has a better opportunity than most African countries. We've got the market, 200 million. We've got the resources, both human and natural resources. Now, it now depends on how we begin to look at exploring and exploiting the resources. It was a very bad news about last week when Twitter announced that it was moving its headquarters to Ghana after it's in Ghana. Twitter headquarters is in Ghana. And does it mean that the world is now beginning to bypass Nigeria despite its standing, the economic position, the population, the resources? Do we have a kind of a political problem before the world? Trust. Are we having issues? Is America, is Britain and Europe, outside China, trusting Africa and indeed Nigeria to be able to partner with us to do some economic businesses?
Yeah, thank you. Just like Priscilla said, is Africa ready? I think some aspect of Africa are ready. Some countries in Africa are getting themselves prepared for post-Brexit windfall and opportunities that are opening up with the United Kingdom. And this comes to the terms that you find out that the countries like Rwanda are preparing themselves as the tech hub and destination for Africa. You find out that the countries like with robust technological standardizations that is equal to what is derivable in the Western world, in Europe or in
Silicon Valley or
and America. So they equate into that standard that alternatively, if you cannot get it in America, you can get it in Rwanda. That's what matters a lot. You find that the countries like South Africa are equaling the standardization in producing one of the highest quality of wine, competing with Australia, competing with Spain, competing with Italy. Yeah. So if such countries are preparing themselves towards post-Brexit trade opportunities. You look at Kenya, it becomes a focus point for flour. So if they can produce as much flour as is produced in Netherlands, Netherlands is one of the hub of flour production in the whole of Europe. If they can produce as the same quality, the same standardization, acceptable anywhere in Europe and in the UK, then they have prepared for it. But the fact here is that what area of produce,
is Nigeria
what
prepared?
Area of services is Nigeria preparing themselves? The problem we have in this country is the political will to do the right thing. The second thing is the ability to provide the enabling environment for such things to strive for global attraction. And the third thing is we don't have standard quality control and standardization institutions that can guarantee produce like palm oil, like cocoa, or in modern days, like fruits
yes.
and vegetables, like yam. We don't have. So Nigeria now will be looking at this African Continental Free Trade Zone network. It will be to the biggest disadvantage of Africa because of Nigeria.
Okay.
Because what we do is we're going to do third-party export process.
Unfortunately.
We now take things that we cannot guarantee their standard quality in Nigeria. We pass it to Ghana or Cameroon to give that product a standard quality
before it
can go to UK
Europe.
or go to Europe.
Okay.
So it's a very bad situation for Nigeria,
Very,
but
very
we
bad.
need to get ourselves prepared for this
All right,
opportunity.
Priscilla, because of my time, let me quickly turn to you. As it stands now, what would you be telling the Nigerian government? It's not sufficient that we have the population. What will you be telling the Nigerian? Look, prepare yourself for the Brexit windfall. As you have said, we're not, unlike other African countries. What would you be advising the Nigerian government if you were to be advising them? Go on. You have 1 minute.
I think the Nigerian, it's not just a case of, preparing yourself because of Brexit. Nigeria has so much to take advantage of in her people. Right now, what we're doing in the technology sector is absolutely amazing. And that could be harnessed and sold to the world. What we're doing in our music sector, the gospel sector, for instance, again, absolutely amazing. What are we doing to ensure that we are, selling that to the world as a country and not as individuals? There is also the matter of our film industry. Again, fantastic. We could do a lot. Once upon a time, we were manufacturers. We have the raw material, whether it's the leather that's available. We have all of that. What does it take for the government of Nigeria to think as a country and to look at things on a broader scale as a people? Because people will still make money. There are so much we can do that we need to begin to put the country together on that trajectory to make ourselves, to create that enabling environment to be able to do what we need to do. We're not doing that. We're spending time discussing whether or not cows can walk across from the north to the south or from the east to the west. Come on.
Priscilla, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I have to go now. Thank you so much, Priscilla Nwipo in London, for your time and thought on the program. Azu, thank you so much for taking the time to join us again on the program today. My name is Tunde Alabi. Sincere appreciation to the team, especially Salamatu and Alex, for taking the time to prepare for this program, and the rest of the team in the studio. Thank you so much. Next week is on that day, but it's weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Play safe.